One of the main things that I found with this project was that there were limited photographs, but I did get this one sent to me, which is from 1953, I believe. This was the only real map that I had for the layout, which shows the top right hand corner of the buildings in the yards. So the first thing I did was to do a rough map of the area that I was going to fill. I then started by building the first set of houses to see what they looked like in comparison to the others. It was lucky because I could use the Inkscape drawings that I already had for houses in that street. I then went back to the drawing just to make sure that that building wasn't out of proportion to what I was trying to build. And as I went on, I could see that some of the buildings were too large. This is what I call the art of compromise, because you can't always fit in what you want. For example, the space between these two buildings would have had large garden between them. I then made the warehouse, which is the bottom left, and again using the drawings in Inkscape that I had for other buildings and just adapted them. So it made the process a lot quicker. I then started on the smaller buildings, this one being the coal office. I then started to build the toilets and the smaller buildings that were used on the buildings in those days. All of the toilets were outdoor toilets. There weren't many built in to any of the houses. I then started to place them onto the map again, or the plan that I'd made, just to see if they all fitted correctly. I also started adding perimeter walls. Once I was sure that they were the right size, I then started adding the tin roofs and the window frames and doors and all the bits and pieces that go with them. Again, double checking that everything fitted, and especially at the back of the house at the bottom right, because it had outside toilets in the backyard. Again, going back to the drawing, and as you can see on the bottom left, I already reduced the size of the warehouse, and also the location of the buildings were moved to the little purple marks. So it's best if you do quite a bit of fiddling around before you actually confirm everything in its place. I then made a larger piece of board for everything to sit on. Again, then placed everything onto that board to see if it fitted, and I was still referring back to the original plan. The next was the window frames, and again all done in Inkscape and then sent to a Cricut cutting machine onto sticky labels and then added to acetate for the windows, and started fitting all the windows. All of the perimeter walls were then coated, and the smaller details such as the doors, the headers and footers on the windows, and you can see the sticky label window frames in there. At the back you can see the new girder bridge replacement, which was the girder bridge looked out of proportion to everything else and didn't fit the area. There was actually a bridge like this at the back of the buildings. The next thing I looked at or wanted to add was what I did to alter the background. So here it is with the girders removed. I'll have to find somebody who wants them. And then I also added some of the detail at the back of the foundry and the houses. That's the bridge in place, and I think it looks a lot better than the girders. And in the background you can see houses in the background that will eventually go, and there are factories to go in there as well. So this was the foreground before we started, and you can see the girder bridge in the background, and I'd put all of the cobblestones ready for the roads, and I've removed the diorama so that you can see that that's what it looks like. I finally couldn't resist having a train run at last. Now this is the first time a train's run on this layout for about 5 months, because I just haven't had time. And I think that the difference in the girder bridge replacement is a lot better. So I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye for now.